Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks for watching me. I'm very happy to see you, and I will be happy to read your messages and to answer your questions and to talk to you today. So, it's the last live stream in 2023. 2024 is coming, and I hope it finally will be better than all the previous years. And it will bring us all some peace and luck and yes, peace is the main thing we all need. And in the new year, this is my new year resolution, one of my new year resolutions. I'm going to develop my YouTube channel. I promise you, to dedicate time to it. And I will keep my midweek live streams, and I will record more videos, hopefully, because as I told you before, I mentioned that many times, that it's really difficult to combine it with my full-time job and with family and with a lot of hobbies. I have a lot of hobbies, but by the way, this is my not new, it's an old one, but it's just it had a new spark recently. So I do a lot of crochet, and this is a Barbie doll I got for Christmas, and so I immediately crocheted this outfit for her. So I crochet a lot, and it's very it helps to get rid of stress. It's really hard to, as I said, to combine doing YouTube channel, developing it with a full-time job, with hobbies, and with family. But I will do it. Sometimes I feel like quitting, like giving up, because I don't have enough time for that, like maybe other bloggers, I don't know. And so sometimes I feel like quitting, but then I think, no, I should push it. I should continue to do that. And so maybe you, by the way, can write in the chat, what do you like about my channel, and what do you maybe dislike, and what do you want to see in the new year, in 2024, on my channel. So I'm thinking about you guys, and about how I can make something really interesting and full of information, and something that will be very really interesting for you. So today in my live stream, I will talk about, as I said before in my previous live stream, I said that I'm going to talk about Christmas and New Year in Russia and Ukraine, and about different traditions, and about how those traditions are changing in terms of war, which is very important. We're not going to talk just about traditions; it's not interesting. But maybe some of those parts of all this discussion will be interesting for you, because I'm going to talk about how I celebrated New Year as a child, and how my perspective were changing when I was growing, and when I moved to Ukraine, what changed when I moved to Ukraine. So it's all, I think, quite interesting. And actually, that idea of talking about Christmas and New Year and the traditions came to me when my mother-in-law, who is American and she lives in Oklahoma, she texted me asking about about the traditions, and who is Father Frost, and how did you celebrate New Year when you was a kid, and what traditions do you keep, and how do you celebrate those holidays? What is Orthodox Christmas and stuff like that? And so I decided that it will be so it's I'm doing this live stream for her and for you to talk about different traditions as well. But first of all, I cannot pass by that naked party in Russia, because now it went viral, and this party became famous, infamous in the whole world, not only in Russia. And we will talk a little bit about that, and about what it means, again, in terms of war, and what it means in terms of Putin's regime strengthening the repressions against different parts of the Russian society. So we will talk a little bit about that. But first of all, let me take a look at the chat. Good evening, Andy. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I feel one of the things that attracts me to channel most is that you have experience in journalism in Russia, Ukraine, and the US and provide insights on them all. Thank you so much, Andy. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you. Thank you for watching me today. So let's talk about Naked Party. Did you hear about that? Or did you see those viral pictures? Please reply in the chat. So I want to see what you know about that and what you think about it. So I will read your messages. So for those who has no idea what I'm talking about and what is naked party or half naked party, as they call it, the brief description of what happened. There is a very famous blogger in Russia, Anastasia Ivleva, Nastya Ivleva, and she's like really popular. She has almost 19 million subscribers on her main account alone on Instagram, and almost 7.5 million on her personal account on Instagram. And she was one of the guests in one of the most popular YouTube shows, Russian YouTube shows conducted by Yuri Dut. He's one of the most popular independent YouTubers, not patriotic YouTubers, and he doesn't live in Russia now. So he's very popular YouTuber, and she was one of the guests of Yuri Dut, and her interview is the second popular interview among all of them, and they all are very popular. They got like millions of views, and she got, as far as I remember, I hope I'm not mistaken, she got like, her interview got like 37 million views, as far as I remember. So she threw a party, private party, called Almost Naked Party. That was the official name. And they had a special dress code, so you were supposed to be almost naked, so to wear something that is like not covering your body, fully covering your body. So you need to come up with some creative outfit, and some people really came up with some very creative outfits. I will tell you what I mean. And this party was held in Moscow's Mutabor nightclub on 20th of December. And after that party, the pictures from that party, and they were like, I don't know how to describe, because we are live now, but you guys probably saw those pictures, or you can Google now Naked Party Moscow and you will see them. They looked a little bit cringy, but it's a private party, so people do what they want to do. And when I said that people came up with some creative ideas, I meant one guy, Nikolai Vasilyev, a rapper, who attended that party wearing only a sock to protect his modesty. And you can guess where he put the sock on. So he was wearing nothing but sock, expensive sock, by the way. And after that, he was jailed for 15 days and fined 200,000 rubles for promoting non-traditional sexual relations with a sock, probably. I don't know what do they mean by promoting non-traditional sexual relations. Talking about just an outfit, a strange outfit. And so after that, after the pictures went viral, the Z Patriots, military bloggers, Russian military bloggers, Z Patriots, they like got outraged, and they started that campaign. Well, I don't know for sure who pressed that button initially. So maybe there was some authority, some officials involved into that campaign, but we don't know. Someone definitely pressed that button, but what we saw, what was like evident, that there was a wave of outrage from those Z patriots, and they were saying like, we are fighting, our soldiers are fighting with NATO for our traditional values, and look what those people are doing. They are throwing party, like they're spending a lot of money. They show up almost naked, wearing just a sock on their genitals, and just it's they were outraged. Outraged. How can you do that when our soldiers are dying for Putin, for the motherland, and for traditional values, of course. And after that, it was like a snowball. So some people, as I said already, they were even arrested and fined us. And some people, the majority, and especially the organizer of that party, Nastya Ivleva, they are being canceled now, basically. So a lot of a lot of companies, brands, they are canceling contracts with her. Some of them already canceled the contracts. The other people who attended that party, they are facing some troubles again as well, because, for example, there is a very famous singer, Philip Kirkorov. He's one of the pop stars in Russia for many years, and so he was one of the like main participants in the New Year shows every year since I was a teenager. I remember that. So every year he was participating in those New Year shows on the state TV channels in Russia, and now they are cutting him out from that shows. Can you imagine this? So they filmed them already because they recorded those shows in advance. They are not live. Nothing is live on Russian TV now, and so they recorded in fall, and now they are cutting Philip Kirkorov out of those shows. So, and he disappeared from the posters, different poster advertisement. So it's just a crazy, absolutely crazy situation. And the next step was, so they find some people, they arrest some people, they started canceling some people, and the next step was they forced them to record apologies. And some of them, including Ksenia Sobchak, who is Putin's goddaughter, and also a TV star, and she was running for presidency, as you remember. So she attended that party as well, and she was on those viral pictures. So she recorded an apology, and Nastya Ivleva herself recorded an apology, and Philip Kirkorov, that singer, recorded quite a funny apology, because he said, he was on those pictures like half naked, and he said, oh, I mixed the door. I went. I opened a new door, a wrong door. So and it became a meme. That wrong door became a meme, and everybody is making fun of them. But it's not funny. It's not funny at all. People are apologizing, crying for what? For private party. We can think whatever we think about them. We can even hate them, but it's a private party. They are adults. They can do what they want to do. And they why are people outraged by that like false morality? What are we talking about? Because if you look at the costumes, at the stage costumes of those people when they sing, for example, if we talk about singers, you can see a lot of and people are posting those pictures now on social media. You can see a lot of photos of them wearing also like half naked outfits, and nobody was against it, but something triggered now, something clicked now, and we don't know what. But what is that story about? This story is about that nobody is untouchable in Russia now. They can come for any part of the Russian society. They came already for the politicians, for the just opinion leaders, for poets. By the way, today, a guy who was reading poetry, anti-war poetry, just reading poetry, he was sentenced to 7 years in prison. He got 7 years in prison for reading poetry. So they came for poets, for everybody. And those people who attended that party, they were always loyal. They were not like anti-war. They were not activists. They were always loyal, like close to the right people. And in spite of that, they came for them. Why? Because, as I said before, nobody is untouchable in Russia now. You cannot be safe. Even if you are a poet and you write about birds and sun and the sky, they will, at some point, they will come for you and they will tell you, why aren't you writing about Putin and about patriot, how to be a patriot, and about our special military operation or something like that. So there is no safe space, safe place in Russia. And even if you think that you can have some kind of contract with authorities, with Putin, with Kremlin, they will fool you. They will trick you, and you just can't. You cannot trust this system. You cannot trust this regime, and that's what happened. I don't know what will happen next. Today, I was talking to one expert about that poetry guy who was sentenced to 7 years in prison, and I asked, what do you think, why there was such a wave of interest to that naked party, and people discussed it, and it just went viral, and it was like a topic number one, and why nobody talked about that guy who was reading poetry and sentenced for 7 years. And he said, because in Russia's reality right now, in Putin's reality, 7 years for reading poetry is normal. It's new normal. But arresting people or making them to apologize, it's something new. Arresting people who were loyal, who were, if you will, like some kind of symbols of that system, uh, and they came for them. So this is something you didn't expect, and that's why this story was so just loud, and people are discussing it. So that's what happened, and now we all think, what is next and who is next? We don't know. And will they ask people to dress a certain way? Will they ask the artists, the singers, to dress a certain way? Will they change like the dress code completely? Is just we don't know. We don't know what will come next. Let me read some messages. Is the club under investigation as well? As far as I know, the club is closed now, and probably it's under investigation as well. This doesn't look like a naked party. What do you mean? You mean my live stream? I never promised you a naked party. I'm talking about naked party happened in Russia. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow you may die at the front. Cheryl, yeah, you're right. You're right. This is something. Yes. Will Russia start to block social media apart from a Russian party backed platforms? I don't know yet. What I enjoy about your channel is both the political discussion and the insight into Ukrainian and Russian culture. Thank you so much. Andy writes, the naked party staff was given the professionally outraged in Russia a great target of opportunity. Amazing the way they all folded and are all on TV now, professing contrition. I'm a Eurovision fan, and I saw the BBC article, The Lion Russian Eurovision veteran Dima Bilan insisted he was fully clothed and had no idea what other guests would wear. Made me cry from laughing. Yes, he said that. Yes, he said that. And he was all very serious saying that. But you should listen to Philip Kirkorov. I'm sure you can find his apology with the subtitles when he mixed up the doors and when he went into the wrong door. I think this one is even funnier. Okay, to me, initially, I was struck by their forced indifference. Of course, I was thinking about Ukraine. Okay, that's what I wanted to tell you about Naked Party. If you want, we can continue discussing it a little bit. But that's what I actually wanted to tell you. That my main point is this is some new stage. This is some new stage. And we see that there is absolutely no like any borders of restrictions for so there is no point where they can stop. I mean, Putin's regime, where they can stop. It's we don't know the next what is coming next in the new year, I guess. So let's talk about New Year and Christmas traditions. I will start from telling you how I celebrated New Year as a kid, and then I will tell you how it changed when I moved to Ukraine. And then we'll talk about Ukraine, Christmas and New Year, and how all the traditions are changing right now, and how the attitude towards the main New Year and Christmas characters are changing as well. So when I was a kid, I was growing in the Soviet Union. So I was born in 1980, and all kids that time. We liked New Year. We were waiting for New Year, and usually, so the adults would celebrate like the whole night. You would invite your neighbors or your good friends, and you celebrate almost all nights. You do fireworks, and by the way, my dad was once injured by a firework. That's why I don't like them at all. Not only for that reason, I'm not a big fan of fireworks, but that moment is imprinted in my head because I remember how my dad injured himself because he was a little tipsy during a New Year night, of course. So people would just get together and celebrate, and usually one of the neighbors would dress as Father Frost. This is a like traditional Russian, I would say, Soviet figure, Soviet New Year character for the kids still. Why I said Soviet? Because it was a New Year, main New Year character for all the former Soviet countries. So the traditions they made, the Soviet authorities, they made that tradition all the same for all of the republics, and I will talk about it a little bit later to give you some historical perspective. So one of the neighbors would dress up like Father Frost, so kids wouldn't recognize him, and he would come to give presents and to make kids read poems, and they would put a kid on the chair and they would read a poem. And to be honest, I'm describing you the tradition now, but I don't remember anything. I don't remember any Father Frosts. And I even don't remember like expecting a Father Frost or believing in him. I think that my parents probably, I should ask my mom again, but I think my parents were not like big fans of Father Frost. They like the tradition of getting together and spending like the time with spending time with friends and family, but I don't remember Father Frost. We would dress up as girls would dress up like a snowflakes, and guys, little boys were always like bunnies, little bunnies. I don't know why, but in all Soviet kindergartens, the girls were snowflakes, and the parents would make those costumes by themselves because you couldn't buy a costume of a snowflake on Amazon, the Soviet Union, obviously, and so there is no place where you could buy it. So we would like sew it or knit it, or I don't know, like make it by yourself, the costume. And the same thing with bunnies. So all the boys were little bunnies. I have no idea why. And for me, it was like pretty boring. I don't remember having any fun. I had fun just getting together with people, with my family. We really had fun. But I don't remember having any fun like about those traditions. But I need to be honest with you. A lot of people do love that, and they liked it. I think when I was a kid, I believed more in Peter Pan than he's my Peter Pan is my favorite character from the world literature, probably for kids. I mean, and but I think I didn't believe in Ded Moroz, in Father Frost. But again, it's me. It's my individual perspective. For a lot of people, it's like a big tradition. No New Year without Ded Moroz, without Father Frost, and all kids are waiting for Father Frost, and so on. So it's like a really big deal. And when you grow up, it transforms into something else. So you're not waiting for Father Frost anymore, of course, but you still. I'm now describing the Russians perspective. It's still like a really big deal for you when you grow up. Why is it a big deal? Because there is a like people believe that you must celebrate New Year very uh, how can I like with all the traditions, and you need to do it like widely. You cannot celebrate. What kind of New Year is it if you're just sitting in front of TV or you go to bed at 12? This is not a new year, not Russian style New Year. You should get together with your friends, big party. You should eat a lot of dishes, and we have some traditional Soviet, I wouldn't say like Russian, Soviet dishes that we cook and eat every New Year. I don't like all of them. I like some of them, and especially that New Year salad called Olivier. But this one, by the way, is not Soviet. There is one. There is a Soviet version of it, but initially it was not Soviet. It was before the October Revolution that that salad appeared. But then in the Soviet Union they transformed it into something else because they didn't have enough ingredients. I'm okay with Olivier, and my husband, who is American, he really loves Olivier, and he can eat it every day. So this is maybe if you don't know the word Olivier, maybe you can it's like a Russian salad or something. Again, so a lot of food. You need to get drunk, you need to eat a lot, like you cannot just stand after that after you eaten. But at the same time you need to dance a lot, you need to listen to the president, his speech, then you need to listen to Kremlin clock, you should count, and then everybody is like, oh, after counting 12, and you drink champagne, and it's just that's how you celebrate. But it's not the end, it's the beginning of the party. Russian style party. After that, if you really want to celebrate New Year, if you are not some kind of loser who does not celebrate New Year, you you need to stay up almost all night. It's the later the better, and you need to dance, and just to I don't know, to do all kinds of things. And if you stay up all night, if you stay up till morning, that's great. You are a real New Year fan. You are real, like you are a person who can have fun, and other people will respect you. That's maybe I exaggerate a little bit, but that's how I felt all the time I lived in Russia. and I felt like obligated to celebrate New Year that way. And every time I felt bad if I couldn't celebrate it that way. Maybe well, sometimes it comes naturally. So sometimes you really have a big party, like you get together with your big family, and you have great time sometimes. But sometimes it's year by year it differs, and sometimes you just for example with a couple of your friends, or you with your parents, or you with your husband, and that's it. And this, it's also a good celebration. And I always felt like a loser, and people would ask me, oh, you are going to bed at 12? What? And I remember one night with my first husband, we were like, I think I was 28 and he was 30. So we were celebrating New Year, and we were kind of in the mood to not celebrate it too much, to sit, to stay up very late. We went to our parents' place, his parents' place, and so we celebrated with them. And after that, his parents and my parents, my mom, they went to bed, and we were like, it's almost only 12:30 or something, and we were like, we are really sleepy, we would like to go to bed. But then we were like, no, if we go to bed, we're not cool people, we need to do something. So I called my friend, and we went to my friend's place, my best girlfriend. And so we went to her place and to her husband, and they were absolutely the same way. They were sitting at the table like, what are we going to do? We are bored, we want to go to bed. So we joined them in their boredness, and we watched a little bit of TV, and then we went to bed. And we felt like we were old boring people. And so I always felt that pressure, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. So and again, it's my individual perspective. So there are people who really likes celebrating New Year that way, as I described, every year. I'm not that way. So when I moved to Ukraine in 2013, still in Ukraine, it's a former Soviet country. A lot of people are celebrating New Year, and a lot of people are celebrating New Year. Were celebrating that time. I don't know about now. Were celebrating New Year exactly the same way as I just described, as it was in Russia. But for some reason, I don't know why. Maybe because I moved and it was a different country. Maybe they really didn't have this pressure. But in Ukraine, I never felt that pressure. I never felt that pressure. And I remember my first or second New Year in Ukraine, I just went to the church. I went to the liturgy just alone by myself. My mom came; she was visiting, and we put my son to bed, and I went to the church, and that's it. And I was so happy. It was one of the best New Years in my life, and I just never. And the next day I worked on the radio, and I actually like that post New Year time, because in the former Soviet countries, again, it's different now, but before that and now in Russia, they have like several days, almost 10 days of vacation right after the New Year. So the whole country is relaxing, and that relaxed mode. Nobody works, and it's just that New Year time. And so I liked it, and I even like to work during that New Year time, because the roads are empty, and stuff like that. And so, as I said, in Ukraine, I never felt that pressure. Maybe the answer is why I never felt that pressure, because in Ukraine, people are really, a lot of people are really religious, not like fake religious, but they're really religious, sincerely. And they celebrate, first of all, they celebrate St. Nicholas Day, which was, according to the old calendar, on December 19th, and now it's December 6th. So it's a big holiday in Ukraine. So every kid is waiting for a present for Saint Nicholas Day. It's huge. And so they celebrate that Saint Nicholas Day. And then they celebrate Christmas, and they used to celebrate that Orthodox Christmas according to the old calendar, which is from January 6th to January 7th, and now they are celebrating according to the new calendar. And so maybe that's why, because people are religious and they are celebrating other holidays. It's not only New Year, like one holiday and that's it. Because in Russia, people do not celebrate Christmas. I mean, they do, but it's absolutely different thing than New Year. It's not comparable at all. First of all, people they usually don't give presents for Christmas. It depends on family. Well, it depends on family, but usually it's like a pure religious holiday. You just go to the church, and not everybody is celebrating it. It's for certain people, so there is not like that Christmas spirit. Lately it changed a little bit, but still, so that New Year celebration was like one main thing, and all people were united around that thing. So if you take it out, nothing is left. If we're talking about Russia, if you take out this New Year, nothing is left. So people will feel like lost, I think. But in Ukraine, meanwhile, they had some other holidays. So if you take out New Year, I'm saying take out, people still celebrating it, but still, if you let's imagine this. So if you take out New Year, you still have Christmas. People celebrate Christmas in Ukraine, and you still have Saint Nicholas Day. So there are other other constructions that you can't just leave people with nothing. So maybe that's why. Maybe that's the answer. But recently, a lot of things has changed in Ukraine because of the war. They actually started changing long time ago, almost 10 years ago, after the annexation of Crimea and the Russia's invasion in Donbass. And I witnessed it because I lived in Ukraine, how it was changing, and all those discussions about characters, magical characters. We will talk about it. Let me take a look at the chat. I'm surprising how religion managed to stay. So, in Ukraine, you mean? In the western part of Ukraine, religion always stayed there. Even during the Soviet times, people managed somehow to keep it. If we're talking about Eastern Ukraine, this part was never religious because it's like the Soviet part of Ukraine, and the identity was very vague. It's another topic for another live stream or interview about the self-identity of the people from the eastern part of Ukraine. It's very I'm talking like Donetsk, Lugansk, the territories are occupied now. The self-identity was very complicated, and the population there were partially replaced by people from different Russian regions. So it's a separate topic. But that part of Ukraine was never religious, and the western part was always religious. During Soviet era, yes, that's what I was talking about. Santa Claus is the American bastardized version of Saint Nicholas. Well, yeah, it's true. I'm fan of boring. Yes, now I'm fan of boring as well. Chinese New Year is really fun. There is nothing like bonding over being boring. Yeah, mistake. I'm a party pooper. The U.S. helped broker the deal. Actually, nukes were taken away from Ukraine and given to Russia to control. Additionally, Ukraine was assured to protection by Russia as part of the deal. Sam says, is the New Year a public holiday? In Russia, yes. You mean like official holiday, day off? Yes, it's in Russia is a public holiday. Father Frost, the Saint Nicholas replacement from Soviet time. I wouldn't say it's a replacement. I will talk about it right now. I will tell you the story of Russian Santa Claus, if you will, Father Frost. Is Russia sending females to the front? or this the strategy for them to lay back and think of Mother Russia. I will talk about it later in my other videos, but yes, there are some news about that they're sending females. Of course, we didn't arrest her for that. Like, it reminded me of Melania Trump's forced indifference. Her jacket, I don't really care. Do you? I remember that jacket. Yes, of course, we didn't arrest her for that. That's true. And someone sent us a couple of socks in the chat. To me, initially, I read this message already. Thank you so much. So let me get back to our main topic. So how things changed in Ukraine. First of all, in terms of war, you know that Ukraine is trying to get her its identity back, to get its culture and language, and like to get it back. And now Ukraine is trying to get rid of anything that is connecting the country to Russia, to the past, to the Soviet Union, to the Russian Empire. So they cut all the ties. They don't want any common cultural space or any cultural connections, and it reflects in every area. Ukraine is trying just to have nothing to do with Russia, with former Soviet Union, and with Russian Empire. So they cut all the connections in every area, and the religion is not. Is not is in this list as well, and so the talks and the discussions about switching to the new church calendar, were going. As far as I remember, I lived in Ukraine, and they already discussed that thing. They were discussing the possibility of switching to the new calendar, and it's actually a political thing, because Russia, they stick to this calendar, and even more now because Ukraine switched to the new one, and Russia sticks to the old calendar, saying we keep old traditions, like real tradition, traditional values, religion. We are really religious people, which is not absolutely not true. If you look at the polls, and if you look at the polls, how people, like, do they really go to the church and believe, and what do they do? So you will see the difference. And if you just go to Russia and go to Ukraine, you will see the difference, even if you're not an expert. So Russia sticks to that old calendar, representing itself as a keeper of the old real traditions. And so it's a political thing, and Ukraine wants to be with the whole world, with the Western world, and to celebrate Christmas together. Religiously, there is no difference. It's just a calendar. It's really just a calendar. There is no like other traditions or anything, just a calendar. And for me, it was always like not logical. Why would you? I held I was doing fasting before, so we had like Great Lent, according to the Orthodox Church calendar, Great Lent, and that Lent right before Christmas, and it usually ends before Christmas, and then you celebrate Christmas, and you can eat all things you didn't eat before again. And for me, there was no logic in it. So you have this Lent before Christmas Lent, then you celebrate New Year when you like get drunk and eat all the stuff, and then you come back to the Lent again, and you're waiting for Christmas. So there is no no sense. It doesn't make any sense. And I was always thinking, like, I would love to be to switch to a new calendar and to celebrate with the whole world, especially when I moved to the United States, and it's impossible to just not celebrating Christmas on December 25th. And I was like, I wish Russian church would switch to that calendar. And so that was Ukraine was going to do for a long time already. And uh, it's a sign of being with the whole world. It's a sign of being with the Western world, and it's a sign of cutting all the connections with Russia and with the Soviet past, and with cutting all the connections with the offender, with the aggressor. So it's very, first of all, I think it's logical, even if not, we're not talking about war, and it's very understandable in terms of war. And At the same time, there was a certain difficulty in switching to the new calendar because, as I said, Ukrainians are religious and they stick to their traditions. So for them, it was mentally like not very easy to switch to new dates. People got used that St. Nicholas Day is December 19th. How to switch to December 6th? But they did it. They did it, and the war helped them to do it. And I noticed just by my Facebook and by my friends, talking to my friends, they did celebrate Christmas on 25th in Ukraine, and first time, by the way, officially first time in 106 years. So they did celebrate Christmas in Ukraine, and a lot of people did it. So they will adjust, and Russia will stick to that calendar, to the old calendar, even more, representing, as I said, itself as a keeper of real traditions, or something like that. So that's what happened in terms of Christmas. And if we are talking about New Year and Christmas characters, we talked already about Santa Claus, about you sent me a message about Santa Claus, about Saint Nicholas, and about Father Frost, about Ded Moroz in the Russian tradition. So what is happening to Ded Moroz, to Father Frost, in terms of war? Again, let's go back to the times when I lived in Ukraine. When I lived in Ukraine, I even invited Ded Moroz and his granddaughter Snowflake, a snow maiden, because Soviet Ded Moroz, Soviet Father Frost, always appears with his granddaughter. Snowflake or snowflake, snow girl. I said, I remember that snowflakes from kindergarten. Snow girl, snow maiden. So I invited Ded Moroz and Snegurочка, her name is Snegurочка, snow maiden, to our house. My son was 3.5 years old, so he liked Ded Moroz. He got presents, so he had fun. And at that time, there was nothing wrong with Ded Moroz. That was, by the way, before the annexation of Crimea, even before. So it was in 2013, yes, December. And so that was possible, and it's still possible to invite Ded Moroz and Snegurочка, Snow Maiden, to your house if you want. You can do that, no problem with that. But the attitude is changing significantly. And when I lived in Ukraine, I noticed that already at that time, that people started like questioning Ded Moroz, questioning Father Frost, because they understood that that character was he had that Soviet flavor. He didn't have like big traditions behind him. I mean, of course, in the mythology, in the fairy tales, in the literature of 19th century, if you read, you can find some characters similar to Ded Moroz, to Father Frost, but that construction, like this scenario, Ded Moroz with Snegurочка, with Snow Maiden, are coming to the houses, are coming to kids, and ask them to read the poems and then give the presents. This scenario was created in Soviet era, in 30s, by the way, during the Great Terror. During the Great Terror, so first Father Frost and first Snegurочка, they appeared on they in Russia they call it Christmas tree performance, yolka. Christmas tree performance. So they appeared on the first Christmas tree performance in 1937. 1937. So that it's the year that is a symbol of great terror by Stalin repressions. So Ded Moroz, although a lot of kids like him and they have no idea about repressions and any of that stuff, and they have all rights to love Ded Moroz, but still Ukrainians they started to rethink the attitude, and they started to think like what's the history behind him, and we have a real figure, we have a real character, Saint Nicholas, who is a real saint, and we know his story, and we know who he was and who he is for us, and so like it's like the biggest stories behind him, and it's more, he looks like more natural than Ded Moroz, who is like kind of Soviet, has that Soviet flavor. And the attitude started changing, and the discussion started like, who is better, Ded Moroz or Saint Nicholas? Who would you choose? And let's pick only one character. We need to leave only one character, Ded Moroz or Saint Nicholas. So now the general attitude towards Ded Moroz in Ukraine, I would say, is kind of negative, but there's still people who celebrate it that way. I wouldn't say all people are celebrating just with Saint Nicholas and that's it. No, there are people, and it's fake news that you cannot invite Ded Moroz in your house in Ukraine. It's fake news spread by Russian propaganda channels. It's not true, and you can easily find out that it's not true just by Googling. But the general attitude is changing. The general attitude is changing, and people prefer Saint Nicholas over Ded Moroz. And there are even like funny pictures when where you can see Saint Nicholas and Ded Moroz, and Saint Nicholas is kicking Ded Moroz's butt so he can go away. Like, I will stay here and you just go away. It's just a funny picture. But as I said, the attitude is changing. So if we talk about that figure itself, I'm not a specialist. There are real specialists in that topic, so I just will tell you what I know. As I said before, that scenario, that construction of the holiday appeared first in the 30s, in 1930s, and it was, first of all, it was after a great famine in Ukraine and in the certain Russia's regions, and so it appeared right after that, and also it was like in 1937, which is a symbol of great terror and repressions. So what did they do? First of all, when they started actually celebrating Christmas in Russia, and did they ever celebrate? Have they ever celebrated Christmas? So in the second half of the 19th century, the German custom of decorating a Christmas tree began to spread in the Russian cities. So it was at the end of 19th century in the Russian Empire, and they usually they placed under the Christmas tree. They placed a mythological old man, Moroz Ivanovich. That is some kind of Ded Moroz, some kind of Father Frost, but from the 19th century, from the literature, and they put it under they would put it under the Christmas tree. So they combined like German traditions and Russian traditions and Russian character from the literature. Only in the mid 1930s, as I said before, Father Frost, we know well today, appeared in 1937. But between 19th century and 1937, what was happening in that time? So in the 1920s, Bolsheviki, they tried to get rid of the old holidays associated with the old regime, and that list of holidays included Christmas. So they wanted to get rid of Christmas as a religious holiday. And so from early 20s till 1935, 36, 37. They didn't celebrate. There was no celebration of Christmas or New Year with a Christmas tree. There was no celebration at all. And so there was like that big gap. But then the Soviet leaders, Stalin, they needed something to unite people around something. And in the authoritarian regimes, they usually do it. They need to create some tradition, some custom to unite people, even if it's artificial, to unite people around it and to cement the support of the regime. That's exactly, by the way, what happened with the Victory Day in Russia. It was that new tradition of celebrating Victory Day was artificially created by Putin's regime, and they united people around that. They call it victory frenzy, and they united people artificially around this holiday, very like exaggerated to the absurd level, and people. So now people don't have anything except their past. They're celebrating their past, and apparently that's something they wanted to do in 1930s. So they created. They needed to create a new tradition. And on December 28th, the main Soviet newspaper Pravda published an article by the famous Soviet figure Pavel Postashev, and the article was called "Let's Organize a Good Christmas Tree for the Children for the New Year." And of course, it was not his personal initiative. This Stalinist state needed a new ritual, as I said, and it's not surprising that a lot of effort and money was spent on organizing this holiday. And since then, New Year began to be celebrated officially again, and they came up with this scenario: Father Frost, Snow Maiden, which also I wouldn't say Snow Maiden came like out of nowhere. It had also prototypes in the Russian literature of 19th century. And by the way, there is a performance called Snow Maiden, a very good performance in DC right now, and you can. I think till January 7th or something, you can still watch it in a Cinetic theater. So, and this is based loosely based on that Russian literature piece about the Snow Maiden. And so yes, Snow Maiden did have her prototypes as well, but the whole, again, this whole scenario: Father Frost, Snow Maiden, entertaining children. Children are singing songs about Stalin, how they love Stalin. It's not an exaggeration. That was created in 1930s. So that's why people in Ukraine, they don't like it. They resenting it. So it's understandable. But at the same time, that tradition got so strong, and kids like Father Frost, Ded Moroz. He's a fictional character. He looks almost like Santa Claus. So people, kids like it, and it's all mainly for kids. And especially here, like in America, kids don't know about any of that history. But I see some resentment against Ded Moroz and against Snegurочка, and it's understandable because of the history. But I wouldn't say like I'm against it, and I even played a role of Snow Maiden in the school I teach for kids, because they asked me to replace some other Snow Maiden, and I did it because I love kids and I love entertaining kids. So how can we like deal with it, right? We have on the other side, we have the Soviet history. On the one side, we have the Soviet history. On the other side, we have just a tradition of entertaining children. What should we do about that? I would think that the main thing is talking about that. It's the first thing, talking about history and explaining history, and reading, watching lectures, and so on. But at the same time, maybe it was like for many many years since that those Stalin years, this whole construction was so unchangeable, like stable. It's the same scenario. Yes, we add like different contests for children, and the texts are changing, but the whole construction is of the same. So I think it's maybe important to add some other characters into this scenario, and there actually a lot of people do that. They add some other characters, some funny elves, or I don't know, to make it more like international mixture, and maybe to create some other characters, to come up with some other characters. And actually, even in Russia, again, people do that. That's not like I'm giving advice here. No, there are specialists who do that well, and they know how to do it, not in a like Soviet way, you know. And even in Russia, they still trying to break those rules. And I read a news yesterday that I forgot where it was, which region, but in some school in one of the Russian regions, they Ded Moroz, Father Frost, and Snegurочка, they changed place, they traded places. So a big guy was a snow maiden, and a little girl was woman was Ded Moroz, Father Frost. But you know what? It was really funny. There is a video, and guy is singing something, and people are laughing. But you know what? They forced him to apologize as well, like after the naked party, because they apparently they did something bad for traditional values, so they broke some rules. And it's just so absurd. People were having fun. People were making the best out of it, and they make people to apologize for nothing. So I wouldn't say we need to get rid of Ded Moroz because of his Soviet past. We just need to reflect on it. We need to read about it. We should like educate ourselves, and just to think how maybe to change some traditions here and there, to bring something new in those traditions. So just to think about it. Let me get to the chat. Uh, did I miss the naked party? Everybody is asking about it. No, I was talking about the naked party in the first part, and it's about the naked party in Moscow that went viral, and after that, people got punished. It's not actually a funny story. Snow Maiden is my favorite metal band. Thank you. In Germany, St. Nicholas on the 6th day of December and the Christmas man are two separate figures, though St. Nicholas is in the last decades more and more looking the same rather than being addressed. Um, it's because part of Western Ukraine was part of Austro-Hungarian Empire, and Ukraine part of the Polish-Lithuanian Empire, while Moscovia was still under the Mongol boot. Sherial writes, it's important to understand their hardships. I enjoy the insights you provide. That's what Sam is writing. I enjoy the insights you provide about Russia and especially Ukraine. My direct ancestors were from Poland, and I actually have Polish roots as well. They were Mennonites, and some immigrated to the US and some immigrated to Ukraine in the 1880s. Sorry. England changed from the Eastern Orthodox Empire calendar to Western Catholic Empire calendar in 667. Decided, okay. Ukraine has a Greek Orthodox Patriarchy and a Union Catholic Orthodox Church. That's true. It's a shame Ukraine and the other Warsaw Pact countries didn't try to distance themselves from Russia culture earlier. I wouldn't say it's a shame. It's maybe a sad thing, but I wouldn't like shame people for that. There were some circumstances, and it's better now. It's good that they are doing it now. Okay, Santa Claus. Yes, I think I read everything. Um, guys, there is no naked party there, but you can still throw one if you want. But as I said before, I was talking about naked party in Moscow. So it's been an hour. Thank you so much for watching me and for all your comments and questions. I apologize in advance if I mispronounced something and I didn't read something or I missed something. Thank you so much. Please continue sharing your ideas in the new year in 2024. And I'm always happy to communicate with you. I really appreciate all your inputs, all your questions, and everything you say. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching me. So I need to say bye because it starts really hard to talk. All the best in New Year. Happy New Year and Merry Christmas. Bye.